fifth trumpet. So a lot of time has passed here. The name, but a point I got to make, and this introductory might take up the whole message, but it is very important. Okay, chapter 6 is the first seal, 3, 4, 5, the sixth seal, and then the 144,000 is after the sixth seal. They don't have so then the chapter 9 is the fifth trumpet. We'll get to all this stuff later. But verse 4, they were commanded, this is the locusts were commanded, not to harm the grass on the earth, any green thing or any tree, but only those men who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. That would be the 144,000. Clear into the fifth trumpet. So you see, things are not in chronological order here. So the trick to understanding thing is first off, don't put a chronological order to anything unless it says so, because we don't know. At this point, we're just beginning our study, so we don't really know what the chronological order is. We only know, so what we're going to look at is specifically what happens. And then we'll put some chronology to it if we get there. Okay? But you'll notice, so that's what I meant at the beginning when I said it's all jumbled up. So now we're going to go back and start with the seals and in chapter 6 and see what it has to say without any chronological order. Now notice that now we're going to in starting with the seals, there's some things we want to eliminate here in part of our learning process. First off, it doesn't mention Satan, doesn't mention Antichrist, doesn't mention the beast, doesn't mention a rapture, doesn't mention anything. It just simply says, this is what happened when the first seal was opened. Doesn't now specifically does not mention 3.5 years, doesn't mention 7 years, doesn't mention any number. So disregard all of that stuff. Don't try to put this into a time frame. When I first started this, I was trying to put it into a time frame, didn't work. So let's just just write down what it says. Like I said before, we're going to start with this line. Doesn't matter what direction or whatever. So we're going to be talking about the seals. And this is number 1, just writing down what it is. So when the Lamb opened one of the seals, now notice it says one of the seals, doesn't necessarily say the first seal, just says one of them. I speak English, and to me, one of them means the first one, but maybe it was whatever. And I heard one of the 4 creatures saying with a voice like thunder, come and see, and I looked and behold a white horse. This is the white horse. Now, there's a lot of teachings out there that says the white horse is Jesus. And I want to also caution everyone, I really like the Passion Translation. I had to put it away studying Revelation because in these footnotes, the guy attributes all the white horse characteristics to Jesus. And it is not Jesus. And I will show you that very quickly because no reason to go any further till you figure out that the white horses he's not, the horses of the apocalypse is not talking about Jesus. The second one's firing red. And the one who sat on it, and was granted to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, that people should kill one another. And there was given to him a great sword. Now, is Jesus going to go out and take peace from the earth? No, he's the Prince of Peace. So then So we could stop right there, but the pale horse is death and kills a whole lot of people. So if two of the four horses aren't Christ, the other two aren't either, because he's talking about the same horses. So forget that. So if you do use the Passion translations, which I still do, whatever you do, ignore the footnotes. I don't know why the guy went that way with it, but he did. But that's all I need to say about that. So be careful of reading footnotes in any translation. White horse. He who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given him, and he went out conquering into conquering. I also heard a teaching that said, well, the guy was given a bow but no arrows, so he didn't do nothing. No. Forget the arrows. He said, just write down the facts, Jack. Okay, he went out with a wrong word. He went out and had a bow. A crown was given him, and he went out conquering. Now, if you go out conquering, what are you going to do? You're going to conquer, right? You're going to shoot. Okay, so he went out conquering and to conquer. So this horseman is conquering nation after nation, people, and he's setting out to conquer, and he don't have no intention of stop conquering. So what is that? That is war. That's what that is. That's a lot of war. Lots. In fact, remember, I'm not going to read the verse, but everybody should know it. John said, and I believe it's 1 John, he said the spirit of Antichrist is already here. Right? Guess what we got? And we've had it ever since I can remember. Because the first war I remember is Vietnam. What we have in our society today, the conservative news people call them forever wars. Spirit of Antichrist is already at work. We have forever wars. Oh, yes, we do. If you're out there trying to think, oh, no, we don't. Oh, yes, we do. We've had forever wars for a long time. Started with World War I. Then we had World War II. Then we had Korea. That's Korea is really where the forever wars started. That was a UN thing. Everybody got tired of it. Finally, China got involved, fought to a standstill. Well, no more war there, so now what do? Well, in 50-something, little thing called Vietnam starts. That started from the 50s, didn't quit till 1975, and I only missed it by a year. And then what happened after Vietnam? Well, we had Grenada, we had Panama, because there wasn't no big major conflicts going on. Oh, wait a minute, then all of a sudden we were in Iraq and Afghanistan. Them just got over with. I just turned on the news, now the guys are looking for something else. Now we're in Ukraine is going forever wars. Conquering and to conquer. Forever wars. So they're going to have that on steroids whenever this takes place. We don't know when this is going to take place yet. Hasn't told us. Okay. He opened the second seal. All right, I'm going to put this right here. Second seal. Okay, also, it's important to me that anybody out here, if you have a question, let's get it answered, because this is complicated enough without going home and thinking, what you talking about, Willis? In fact, this is the third time I've went over my notes and reorganized them. It's complicated for me. Okay. He opened the second seal. I heard the second living creature say, come and see, and another horse, fiery red. Well, we're just going to put red because of lack of space, but it's red. And it was granted to the one who sent it to take peace from the earth, to take peace from the earth, that people should kill one another, and there was given to him a great sword. Okay, So now this is important because we know in Thessalonians and other places is the tribulation period is God pouring out his wrath, right? Okay. So peace, the red horse takes away peace. That's taking up way too much room. I got a long ways to go on a little bitty board. Yeah, there's no peace and lots of murder. And we'll go with an increase in murder. In fact, we'll call it a lot of increase in murder. What is one of the signs that we look for before Jesus returns? People will be saying, finally, we have peace. And then the end will come. This is part of God's wrath. The worldly people, oh, we have peace, peace, we want peace. There is no peace. He will take away the peace. And you think inner cities now are rioting and have problems? So you ain't seen nothing yet. And not just in America. During the tribulation, if you live in the United States of America, we'll find out you have just won the tribulation lottery. Hope you don't live in Europe, the Middle East, or the African continent, because you will be in deep dew. It's going to be deep enough here. Just saying. No peace, red horse. And when he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, come and see. So I looked, and behold, a black horse. And he who sat on it had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, a quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, the denarius is a day's wages. Could you imagine paying a day's wages for a quart of wheat? Oh my word. That makes the Weimar Republic look like child's play. So what he's describing by that is hyperinflation. That's what he's describing. Hyperinflation. It's going to take you work all day just to buy a quart of wheat. No, he said, but don't spare the wine and oil. Well, what does that mean? Well, if you don't spill any wine or oil, that means while there's hyperinflation, I don't know how to explain this, so maybe you can help me out how to actually write it on a chalkboard, but I'll use an example that we have today because the spirit of Antichrist is already loose, right? People that are extremely low income have one thing in other words, to them, a loaf of bread takes all day long to pay for it, right? Because they're extremely low income, poverty. Yes, we have that in our country if you're listening from somewhere else. Okay? However, they have one thing in common with me. We both have cell phones. That's what don't spare the wine and oil means. I work like a dog all day long. I haven't got the money to really feed my kids very well. They're starving to death, but Jiminy Crickets, I'm going to have me a cell phone. Dude, if you loved your kids, get rid of the cell phone. They cost like a lot of money. So I don't know how to write that down. If anybody's got an idea, I'm all ears. But I'll write it down as a love for luxury. Okay? A love for luxury. So they have a love for luxury and a desire, I'll say flesh desire, amidst extreme hyperinflation, They have a love and a desire for luxury. Okay, that's the third horse. Now, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to talk about the fourth horse. The fourth horse is very interesting. Verse 7. When he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a pale horse. In the Passion and I've read different commentaries, the word pale is actually green. So the green, pale, purple, doesn't matter to me what color the horse is. It's just another horse, and this is pale, so that's what I'm going with. But it's really green. So I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And the name of him, oh, wait a minute now, right there, and your eyebrows go up. Huh? They're
called death and hell.
Yeah, not there yet, Susie. Susie's pretty sharp. She's always one step ahead of me. This is the only one of the four horsemen that has a name. The other guys don't have names, but this guy does. And the name of him who sat on it was, as Susie said, death and hell. No, excuse me. And the name of him who sat on it was death, and hell followed him, and was given to them, and power was given to them. Who's them? Death and hell. Over a fourth of the earth, to kill with the sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. That has the potential to be a 25% population reduction. That's a lot of folks getting killed. So, the fourth horse, the only one with a name of a rider, the rider is called Death. Now, notice one thing before I stop. I'll just write it down. I will say authority, abbreviate, over 25% of the earth to kill. Okay, now, notice he's given authority over 25% of the earth. Does not say what 25%. Doesn't say that it's a 25% population reduction. He just said, it's just saying over 25% of the earth, death has been given authority to kill. So we don't know necessarily, in other words, don't make it up. Don't say nothing that's not in the Bible. Don't know. What we do know is authority over 25% of the earth to kill. That's a lot of folk, no matter what you do with it. But notice something here. The white horse, the rider, he went out as a conquering to conquer and to make war. Now, if the rider is a demonic spirit, we'll just assume that they are because I'm going by what this one has a name. His name's called Death. Well, that ain't a person, right? So let me ask you this. Can a demon spirit or Satan, is he capable of killing a human being by himself? Answer, no. Because he hates human beings, so if he could kill us all by himself, he would. Can demon spirits kill somebody all by themselves? They hate us, and if they could, they would. And let me tell you, friends, I'm not going to go into there, but I have had enough physical experience with devils. I have had them touch me more than once. So if them little rascals could kill me, they would have. So but how do devils get their way? How do they actually kill people? They influence another person to kill them. How can a devil wreck my life or your life? Can the devil actually come in and destroy my car? Could he do that? Well, he hates me. If he could do that, he would. But he can't, so he don't. He can't do that, so he don't. How does he get bad things to happen to good people, circumstance-wise? He does that when people start saying stuff that's not in the Bible. He does that when Christians start saying, I don't even want to say what Christians say. When they get frightened. Oh, you scared the out of me. The D word. This guy. So if they can get us to say stuff that's not in the Bible, because who's kings and priests in the world anyway here? Them or us? We are. See, so if you can get the king to make a foolish decree, like the guy that with Haman he spoke, and Haman was able to make a decree to kill all the Jews. Why didn't King, what's his name, rescind that? Well, because he was the king, and he said, I give you my ring, make a law. Tied his hands up. You see, so we're kings and priests into the world. So if you make a decree, well, I don't believe in decrees. It don't matter what you believe. What you believe is totally irrelevant. What matters is what's the truth. Because the truth you know sets you free, not the truth you hear. So if you hear something and then you choose not to believe it, that's not my problem. That's your problem. So if you make a decree of something that's going to happen to you, like every time I drive my horse and buggy, I'm going to say horse and buggy because I don't own one. You see how that important it is to me? I don't say stuff like that no more. Not even in a joke. I refuse to say that stuff. But if you hear somebody, every time I drive my horse and buggy, the wheels falls off. Well, if he goes going down, hits a bump, and the wheels falls off, whose fault's that? That's the person that said it, right? Okay. Don't know where I was going with that is, see, these writers are demonic spirits, but they have a human being behind them, or human beings plural, to make war and conquer. They have human beings behind them to take peace and murder. They have people behind them to cause hyperinflation. They have people behind them that have authority to kill 25% of the earth. So it's demonic spirits driving the human race. Simple concept, yet it's important to know that. Because the Bible says the Antichrist is through the activity of Satan. Now, this thing here, the four horsemen, I don't necessarily want to go there. What I was going to say is Jesus opens the scrolls, and this is what happens. That's all we need to know. Okay, now we're done with the horses. No, but he's not made any insinuation that this is chronological. No insinuation whatsoever. Don't know how many years, don't know when it takes place, could take 6 months, 6 years, 60 years. Don't know, don't say. So therefore, we're not going to put any years on that. And whatever you do, don't put 3.5 years on that. Why? Well, you're making it up. Doesn't say that. Remember how I showed you it was all mixed together? Okay, so this is kind of an overview thing here. Now the next thing we're going to get, I call them commercial breaks. We're going to get a commercial. Oh yeah, we're going to get a commercial. We're going to get a commercial. It's a commercial for a mini-series. You ever watch a mini-series? After you watch the first episode, it gives you a preview of the next one. Okay, so we're in commercial break. And this is the fifth seal. This is seal number 5. I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge the blood on those who dwell on the earth. Then a white robe was given to each of them, and said to them that they should rest a little while longer until both the number of their fellow servants and their brethren who would be killed were complete. Okay, now, where are these folks? Okay, it says they're the souls under the altar in heaven. So the commercial on the fifth seal is souls under the altar in heaven. Okay, now, is that during the tribulation or not? Answer, yes, it is. How do I know that? Because of what the Bible says. Okay, now what does the Bible say about somebody that dies today? Where, if you're out of your body, if you're dead in your body, where are you? Present with the Lord. Are these people present with the Lord? No, they're under the altar. They're in heaven, yes, but they're under the altar. They are not with the Lord. So let that sink. So that's how we know that this is during the tribulation. We know that because they're under the, and they're asking for vengeance on the folks that killed them. Right? And he said, rest a little while till your number is complete. That means more Christians are going to be killed during the tribulation. So if you're a Christian, better to be a Christian during the tribulation than die and go to hell, for certain. But you're going to have a tough go of it. That's why we need to explain to people what's important about this. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up here. We're going to get to the sixth seal, and that's going to be just about right. Okay, we're going to get to the sixth seal. I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake. Sun became black, the moon became like blood, stars of heaven fell, sky receded, every mountain island was moved out of its place. Kings of the earth and everybody asked him to die, but they couldn't. He said, for on us hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath has come. Who is able to stand? Okay. So the sixth seal is a great earthquake. Okay. The sun, black. I'm going to stop here, so I'm going to make this big. The sun, black. Moon, blood. Stars of the heaven fell as a fig tree drops its late figs when it's taken by a mighty wind. Okay, now, were they really stars? No, the sun's pretty big, it's a star. And no star going to fall on the earth. It wouldn't even get here before we would be totally burned up. So it's not a star. It's something else. Don't know what it is, but it's not a star. So so when we encounter something in the Bible that we know that it can't be that, then that's a figure of speech. It's an enigma. It means something else, in other words. But if a bunch of stars hit the ground, my guess it's meteorites. Okay, but not necessarily so. That's just my guess. Okay, then the sky receded like a scroll. So the sky is going to recede. I'm not sure what that means. Other than the clouds just move across the sky real quick like. That's all I know that would mean. We're not going to make it up. I'm just going to say I don't know what that means and leave it. That's what you got to do with Revelations. You know what something means? Leave it. Okay. Every mountain and island was moved out of its place. That's a pretty good earthquake. What does the word every mean? It means every. Doesn't mean part of them. It means all of them. So if you use the word every, if you're running out of space on your chalkboard, you can write all, because all means every. All mountains and islands moved. Didn't mean they were destroyed, just says moved. They moved out of their place. Then he says, all the kings of the earth and men, they hide in caves. They said to the mountains, fall on us and hide us from the face of the Lord, who sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath has come. Who's able to stand? Okay? Wrath has come. Okay, now this important statement right here, and we'll close with this for today. His wrath has come. To me, that implies that here we are, all this stuff, this earthquake and stuff happened, boom, his wrath has come. Okay, now keep in mind, who said that? Christian people or wicked people? Wicked people said that, right? His wrath came clear back here. That's when his wrath came. We're raptured out of here. The 30 seconds after we get raptured out of here, his wrath comes. This is just the first time they're getting it figured out. See, so what Bible scholars that I've studied, not all of them, but some, have determined that at this point in time is when the tribulation starts because of this sentence. His wrath has come. So they say, okay, this is on the sixth seal. That's when the tribulation starts. Then when the tribulation starts, that's just when these guys figured it out. They just now figured out that this is God's wrath. Why? How did they figure it out? They figured it out because they couldn't die. They were scared out of their socks. Who wouldn't if every island and mountain was moving? If the sun turns black and the moon turns to blood, you see the clouds going whoosh. And if heaven help you if you're on an island, you're moving through the ocean pretty quick. So these guys are scared, out of their minds scared. And they hide in caves, they're hiding and say, oh, please kill me, please, but they don't get to die. Therefore, they figured out, could be God's wrath that these crazy people that disappeared were talking about. So, very complicated, very intertwined. Do not put chronological order to this. Don't put anything to it. This is just something that's happening. God told John, you're going to talk about things that are going to happen. These are the things that are happening. We get a commercial break in the middle. Something else happens. Several options. These could possibly be happening, and that's why you don't put anything to it. These could be happening all at once, for all we know. There's no chronological to it. See, that's why I say no, because it's what he saw. There's no mention of time. You can only see one thing at a time, right? So he saw this, saw that, saw that, saw that, saw that, and saw that, one event at a time. So we can't put any time to it. So don't. Right now, we're just in seeing what John saw. Okay, the next time I'll speak, we'll go further. I would encourage you to read ahead, maybe study out some things. And once again, if next time I'm here and you have questions, ask questions. Doesn't mean I'll have the answer, but if you have a question that I don't know the answer to, maybe you have a question that I haven't even thought of. So we can write down the question and see if we can find it. That's all I have to say about that.